Aloha and welcome to the Local My Life. It is Monday. It's Aloha Monday. No, okay, sorry, that doesn't work. That only works for Fridays. So, aloha gang and welcome. Yes, brand new work week. Time for us to, I don't know. Did anyone have a weekend? That's what I'm wondering. Does anyone actually have weekends anymore? Because it feels like the weekends are busier than the work weeks at times. So, how is everyone doing here? I cannot believe the dogs are not barking quite yet. Could be because I actually have treats in my hands this time. So, but welcome to everyone popping in. We have the story of a 23-year-old who went missing on October 30th to talk about today. A young man who was in college at the time of his disappearance, and he still has not been found. And a lot of different thoughts going on, a couple changes, updates to the case. Recently, family has actually put out a reward for any information that leads to him being found or what happened that night. So wanted to share all that with you. So if you guys can just pull up a chair, grab yourself some water or something else nice to drink, and I will see you right
Aloha and welcome to the Local My Life.
So here we go. Before we start, because I do know how YouTube loves to take forever to get the notifications out to people, and a lot of people will want to know the beginning of the story because it really helps as we go through the whole, everything that happened. But wanted to say some real quick thank yous as people are walking in. Of course, La Princesa was walking in, first one into the chat. Hello, my dear. Hope you're doing good. We're on to a Monday, and I am so happy. JP, yeah, there were a bunch of us hanging out in Robbie's live earlier, cracking up like crazy. Oh, my God, it was ridiculous. It was hilarious. And also, hello, JP and Princess. And I think I saw Jessica earlier. Yep, there she is, Jessica. Hey, Jessica. Who else do we got in? I'm peeking in on my chat on this side of my screen, but I'm looking through here so I can pull up your guys' comments. Of course, Grandma Sherry. How you doing, girl? Yep, the doggies are at it. The dogs are totally at it. Okay, Mama and her little boy are running back and forth, totally hyped up. So, that girl, how you doing, girl? How you? And Dog Defender, what we got here? Hey, all, nice to see you. Please don't apologize for my... They do speak. Actually, right now they're playing. But yeah, they're the best part of life. Every day, you know what it's like when you come home and it's been a really rough day and you look at whether it's a dog, a cat, a bird, whatever it is, your goldfish. There's just something that helps bring down blood pressure and all. It's just so nice. So I love them. Cajun True Crime, you've been helping me. Cajun True Crime and Seal were both trying to help gather information for me because I was having some rough time getting physical descriptions and stuff like that for Bryce today. So they both were trying to help me see if there was anything out there in addition to what was just really easily public. And and Burden, how you doing, girl? And I know you guys were out yesterday and I missed Sleuths members only. I was so mad. My brother decides to pop in all of a sudden as I'm trying to get ready to go join there. Of course, my brother joins in. I love my brother. I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, I think that's everyone there. So let me give both of these a big piece so they won't bother me for a little longer. And let's start off a little differently than normal for most of the Missing Mondays. And let me share with you a video that came out. This came out, a little bit after Bryce went missing. So I'll give you a little bit of an understanding about what's going on. Like I always say, my favorite part of seeing people talk who knew the person, before they went missing, is you get to hear a little bit about who they are, what they were to other people. And that personality always makes a difference. So here we go. This is something that came out right after he went missing.
Thanks for joining us tonight. At least 250 volunteers gathered in Eagan today to look for a young man missing since early Sunday morning. 23-year-old Bryce Borca was walking home alone after gathering with friends Saturday night. They lost contact with him at about 2 a.m.
KARE 11's Lou Raguse spent the day in Eagan. He joins us now live with the latest on this investigation. Lou?
Police say they do not suspect foul play, but they're not sharing much of any information about what they think happened to Bryce. Now, a lot of people know Bryce and his family, so there's been a lot of support here all day long.
Okay, guys, let's head back this way.
Volunteers spending this unusually warm Halloween day combing through the woods and the valleys next to the Minnesota River in search of Bryce Borca, a 23-year-old last seen at 2 a.m. Sunday.
Our best guess is that we know he was in the area of Highway 13 Road.
Eagan Police Chief Roger.
Pause right there to show you guys because this is very helpful. I am going to bring up a Google map of this area, but it gives you an idea of the geography that we're talking about, because I think a very important part of this story is where he was when he went missing. There's a lot of marshes, rivers, ponds, quarries, a lot of places where there could be water. Someone who was out in the middle of the night may not have been really putting things together correctly in their head. He was intoxicated at the time that he went missing. It's just a lot of dangerous areas. So I did want to just bring this up so you guys can kind of look at the geography as they're doing this story.
News says pings from Bryce's cell phone helped point investigators from that area down toward the Minnesota River. But Bryce's friends say his cell phone died Sunday before he could be found.
And as you can tell, he's well loved. He's got tons of people here with him and helping him try to get him home.
He's very caring, and he just cares really deeply about everybody.
Yeah. Probably the best person
He's very
I've
sweet.
ever met.
After his friends and family put out that call on Sunday, 250 people showed up to help search on Monday for the young man who grew up in Rosemount. But Chief New says neither Bryce nor any further clues were found. The chief won't say exactly what police believe happened to Bryce, except that they have a bit of information they're keeping quiet out of respect for his family.
And I want to be respectful of that and walk them through some of the information that will come out in the near future. But, you know, needless to say, like I said, we don't suspect that there's any foul play at this time.
A lot of concerned people in Eagan hoping to at least bring peace to Bryce's family.
I just simply want to convey their thoughts and tokens of appreciation to the countless people that turned up and came out this morning to search.
Now you can see behind me there's still about 25 people here or so, and that's likely to be the last group to go out and search before it gets too dark. The authorities are taking them out very specifically in small groups because they're doing what's known as the grid search to make sure that they're hitting every specific area so it doesn't need to be searched a second time. Back to you.
All right, Lou, thank you.
Okay, let me just do that real quickly. Okay, let me bring this up real quickly. So, as you guys can gather from some of the information there, by the way, hi, Crystal, and hi, Robbie. Bryce is a college student. He actually went to, what college was this? It was a different name of the college than I'm used to. Century College is where he went to school. So he was out on just a normal evening, like so many of us do when we're in college. It looks as if they had a party bus scheduled. Okay, it's one of, I don't know how many of you guys have ever been on a party bus, but it's a nice, safe way to go out with your friends, not have to worry about people drinking and driving. It would take you from place to place. And yes, people do get intoxicated, especially at college level. Okay, we all know what that's like. And yep, there you go. Cajun True Crime's like, I've been on one. Yeah, they're fun. They're a lot of fun. And so what happened that night was at the end of the night, of course, a lot of drinking and imbibing happened. Bryce and a couple friends got into a Lyft. Okay, so the party was the night of October 29th, and everything we're talking about at this time is October 30th. We're talking about now, early morning hours of the 30th. He and a couple friends were in a Lyft. According to the driver of the Lyft, Bryce was definitely intoxicated, extremely so, actually, to the point where at one point he tried to get out of the vehicle while the vehicle was moving. So there was definitely some level of, judgment being impaired here. So at some point during this, he decided he wanted to walk the rest of the way home. So let me see if I could, Burden, exactly. He decided it was time for him to walk home. Let me pull up Google Earth for you guys right now so I can kind of share some of that. I'm going to keep the picture of Bryce up top, but let me do this real quick and pull up a different screen. Chrome tab, Google Earth. Okay. So I have actually pinned a couple locations here that are important in this story. Okay, there we go, there. Okay, so this right up here, is where he was dropped off in the 3200 block of Hill Ridge Drive. So where he lived is over here on the right-hand side. So that's where he needed to be moving directional wise. So the Lyft dropped him off in that area and over in this area here, and he started walking. Princess Megan, no, this is not necessarily a brand new case. It happened on October 30th of 2022. So just about 2.5, 3 months ago at this point. There have been some updates in that the family has put out a reward now for information. And I think the police are definitely at this point trying to get more information on this. Burden, you know what? I meant to go check that. It wasn't like super long. It was supposed to be a 40 to 45 minute walk. Okay, so from Hill Ridge Drive to Promenade Avenue was about a 40 to 45 minute walk. So it wasn't like super close, but it wasn't like massively forever to go either. And I'm sure in his head he's thinking, I just need to get cool air on my face, and all that, and keep walking. So at 2:08 he was dropped off at Hill Ridge Drive. At that point, walking home. Next time people heard from him was at around 2:34 a.m. So at 2:34 a.m. he called one of his friends and did a FaceTime call. During that FaceTime call, he explained that he didn't know where he was. He could not recognize anywhere where he is. Hey, support with Steppa. Welcome, my dear. He didn't know where he was at this point. His friends said, looking at the area, because, FaceTime, you can see all that. They're like, he was in a heavily wooded area. Now, if you're going to go into this, let me open this up a little bit more so we can actually see here. This area is definitely got a lot of woods. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit. So here's where he lived over here, just as a reminder, in this area right over here, that block. He was dropped off in this block here. And when he was on the phone with everyone, that's when they were looking at things. And if you look at this area here, there's definitely, if he walked, and this is what happened, unfortunately, he turned the wrong directions. It's 2 miles. Thank you, Cajun. So it's not that bad. It's not that far of walking. But you can see if he turned the wrong way, he's heading into this area where you're getting into some industrial areas, which, yes, he was, caught on surveillance video in that type of area. So that he was caught on video with. He also, phone caught him in a very heavily wooded area right in this area here. Last place he was seen was Yankee Doodle Road. They were talking about that location in the video. Yankee Doodle Road and the highway there, or Sutri or whatever it's called. But that's the area he was last seen in. And so you can tell automatically here, he needed to be going this way. He ended up going the wrong direction. Now, the problem is here, okay, I'm just going to point this out here. This is what's worrying so many people. Okay, it was chilly, Sherry. Yeah, it was chilly. It wasn't super cold. Okay, but it was chilly. So we definitely, and we've all been there when we've had alcohol in our system. A lot of times we tend to be a lot more warmer. We think we're warmer than we are. I find that with myself if I've had a little too much to drink. And so he's talking on his phone with his friends. Okay, that phone call was a 12-minute phone call. So he was, in my eyes, he was worried. If you think, hey, Sleuth, think about last time you didn't know where you were and you made a phone call. If you're staying on the phone for 12 minutes, my gut feeling is this is a young man who was worried. He didn't know where he was. He was getting nervous. He looks down at his phone, and now on top of everything else, his phone is at 2% battery. So he's recognizing quickly that he is running out of connection with his friends. So he's trying to figure out with them what's going on. And then the phone disconnects. It just goes dead. Friends keep calling, trying to get back, and it goes straight to voicemail. They do know, because he told them, I only have 2% of a battery left, so they knew automatically, okay, his phone has probably died at this point. So at that point, okay, they start talking with each other. The whole next day, the 30th, they were out looking in this area. They went as friends, okay, and started searching in this area to try to see what they could find. Okay, they knew it was somewhere in this area, so they did that. And then the following morning, Halloween, the 31st, at 10:50 a.m., they made the decision to call and report him missing. Okay, yes, there's always questions. Why did it take over 24 hours? Well, we all know, unfortunately, a lot of places get this whole idea in their mind. You can't report, okay, people at a certain age missing till a certain time, even though that's not totally true anymore. Or you're thinking, okay, we're looking. We spent the whole day looking ourselves, and now can't find him. So they went ahead, called in the police. Police got involved, and immediately, again, I say this every time, I see communities that come together. One of the things that caught me on that video, the interview, the news story, was they said many people knew his family and they knew him. So they were someone many people cared about. Okay, it was someone in the community that everyone knew. So they showed up. Okay, 200 people. Huge groups of people showing up to help search for him. And that's what they did for the next couple days. As you heard there, they did grid searches of the area. Hey, Marcy, how you doing, my dear? At the same time, police went and put together a warrant to go into his apartment and get all of his equipment, electronic equipment and things like that. From there, they were able to start looking at all that information. They started pulling all his cell phone records. They asked companies, businesses along that area, please share your video with us so we can kind of see what's going on. And they were able to get a couple hints on all these things. First of all, they could tell from his cell phone records that he did travel through a small industrial area near Highway 13. Now, Highway 13, from my understanding, is that area that, okay, right and through this area right here. Okay, this here is Yankee Doodle Road. So this is that Highway 13, if I'm understanding this correctly. After he went through that industrial area, he entered a very heavily wooded terrain area that has many marshes and ponds. So I think what we're looking at pretty heavily at this point is this area here. You've got the Minnesota River. And as one local said in a comment, that in many of these places, you don't know the river is there until you're right on top of it. Okay, it's one of those areas that because of marsh and all that, you're walking and then bang. Now, there's also some areas, a lot of high school, college kids would go and dive. Okay, there's some lake type areas that, you know how we used to do. I used to go to the ocean with all my friends and we go diving off of the cliffs and stuff like that there. So it does have an area that he could have gone to in the past. And the other thing they started getting was pulling the electronic equipment, computer, phone records, all that. And they were able to try to use like, find my equipment, find my phone, where was this, all that. Burden, that's part of my concern. They have been searching, water searches, yes. The thing is, they have not found him yet. Now, could be very many reasons why. October, this is Minnesota. October until January, we are talking extremely cold months. Extremely cold months. So, and some of these places, as Cajun True Crime and I were talking when she was trying to help me pull up some demographic information on him, descriptions, some of these lakes are like quarries that have been filled in with water, and they go 100, 200 feet deep. They're deep. They're very deep. And yes, Mercy, when you get into the rivers, you're talking dark, murky, strong currents and all that. They have involved local police, state police, federal have been there. They have had drones searching for him. They have done sonar in many of these areas. There is actually, okay, I'm going to just say this, qualify this way right now. This is a rumor. I have not heard it verified by police or anything, but I've heard it verified enough to make me think it could be very, very true. There is, they were using canines in this. Now, I don't know if they were cadaver or just human scent tracking dogs, but they were using canines looking for him. And word is that multiple dogs hit at this one pit, this one gravel pit area. And this gravel pit goes very deep. And the problem is right now they have used sonar. I'm not sure how deep the sonar goes and stuff like that. I mentioned a few minutes ago, kids would go to some of these areas during the summer and they would actually jump and dive and things like that. So, you know what? It's also very, very possible that if he had been there in the past, there could possibly be something to that. I don't know. We don't know. And that is something that I think the police are working with. What does concern me right now is the family has just in the last week gone and offered a $30,000 reward for information leading to them finding him or what happened to him. That is for those, okay, we've all dealt with cases where someone wandered away or something like that. Amounts like that, at first they're like, oh yeah, no foul play or anything like that. But are there other concerns now? That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know what is going on in this case. Could there be some concerns that are raising now that it's been gone for a while? Okay. He had been drinking. He and his friends had been drinking. A lot of things can happen in times like that. We all have heard stories. I mean, I covered Brendan Santo about a year ago, who had been out having fun. But he had some other mental health issues going on, and that's not something that we're hearing about in this case. So there's a lot of different possibilities here, guys. And I think where we need to do is just kind of keep his story in the forefront at this point. Other things that did happen that they found, they did find when searching in some of the areas, the urban areas and all that, they found a tie that they feel is the tie that he was wearing when he disappeared. So he was wearing a tie at that time, and yeah, that's what they think they found. They also found a single Nike shoe that was found behind a business. Now, they're not sure about the shoe. They're saying it doesn't match what they're being told he wore, but they haven't ruled out the shoe as evidence of any sort. You know, usually they'll be like, oh yeah, we found this and we found that, because you find tons of things when you're doing a search for something. But this shoe is still sticking in the back of their head for things. So we don't know right now with that. We do know they have searched 1,000 acres. There have been many searches with a couple hundred different people getting involved in these searches. Okay, this is definitely something that we heard from them when they were talking, kids that he went to school with, okay, about what a sweetheart he was and stuff like that. So there's some definite scary things here with that whole area being the type of geography that we're looking at here. Okay, it's the case of someone should have gone that way and they went that way. That is a large area to grid search. Exactly. That's a super in fact, I had to double check that. When I read that 1,000 acres, I was like, did I just read that correct? That is a lot of space. And it's a lot of, hey, Gladys, welcome, my dear. Especially a lot of space if you're dealing with water and marshland and stuff like that in the winter. Because if you think about, I just can picture what the weather has done to those areas and all. So, but something has happened in, say, the last month to make the family decide to go from, okay, just the norm to offering not, you know how usually your rewards go from like 5,000, then it ups to 10,000 to that. It went from 0 to 30 very quick. And that's definitely has a very positive side to it, because I hate to say it, money does speak. Sometimes people have ideas, but they don't want to say anything out loud because they don't want to upset anyone. And, but then you give them something to weigh against that being money, and they may be a little bit more open to talking about what they may have seen that night. Okay, were there fights that night at the party? Were there, okay, did they see anyone in the area? There's so many different questions, even though initially it was no foul play expected. There's still always possibilities of everything. There's always also the someone asked in one of the groups I was looking at, could he still be alive? Yes, he could be. He could be. What if he got in an accident and, okay, we've seen this happen. This is not just something out of news, okay, TV shows where someone gets in an accident and they hurt themselves and develop some sort of retrograde amnesia or something like these things do happen. And that's why it's important for us to continue bringing up his face. That's why that there is so important. Hey, Amy. I think, I'll be honest, you guys are looking at this right here, and one of my biggest frustrations here is we were not getting much description-wise of him other than the picture. We know he's 23 years old, but that was all we were told. 23 years old when he went, and then what he was wearing at the time. And I've actually seen 2 different descriptions of what he was wearing at the time. So there's a lot of questions on a lot of areas here. I myself did fill in the blank for his hair and eye color. Every picture I look at, it looks like he has dirty blonde to brown hair and he has brown eyes. But we need to keep that picture out because we don't know when someone may have, maybe someone else was walking at that time of night and happened to see him, okay, in an area after his phone died. Maybe his phone died here, but then he continued walking out around this way. So there's a lot of different possibilities here. Okay, and if the right person hears this information, they might be able to put the police on the right track at this point. let me share one more thing. Well, I got a couple more things I was going to share with y'all. Hopefully I didn't get rid of it. And, but yeah, no, so there's a lot of stuff going on in these cases right now. Let me see, Egan. Let's see, I think this is it. Sorry, gang. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one here. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. Okay, so this is actually some of what was going on, and the family was sending out a new update to everyone about what was going, okay, and how they feel. And their comment, the statement that they shared was, our family wants to express immense gratitude for the continued community effort or support for Bryce and our entire family, including the Egan Police Department, County Special Operations, friends, and countless volunteers. We miss Bryce every minute of every day. He is an incredibly kind and thoughtful young man who has touched so many with his selflessness and loyalty. This has been an extraordinarily challenging for our family, and we appreciate the love and prayers so many have provided us through these unspeakable times. We continue to ask for your support in our continued effort to locate Bryce. Guys, we talked about this, okay? When you look at every single case, people never give up. You can't give up. Okay, hope is always there, and that's what they've held on to this whole time. They have held on to the hope, knowing that they need to bring him home, whether it is bringing him home, okay, able to speak with everyone and all that, or it's just bringing them home so they have a place to visit with him and know that he is safe and not just out there in the woods or something like that. The other thing, sorry, gang. Where's my Facebook? There it is. Okay. This came out 3 days ago, and this is the reason why I think it's always important for us not to give up and to continue sharing these stories. 3 days ago, they're coming out, and the police are trying to get the word out to as many people as possible. And they did that with this statement that the family of Bryce Borca, who has been missing since October 30th, is offering a $30,000 reward for any information leading to his whereabouts. Bryce, 23 years old, disappeared in the early hours of October 30th while attempting to walk home after a night out with his friends. His last known location was in Fort Snelling State Park at the end of Yankee Doodle Road in Egan. So remember that place I just showed you guys. Over the past 12 weeks, 3 months, our family has worked closely with the Egan Police Department to pursue all possible leads and resources in the search for Bryce. These efforts have included hundreds of volunteers, multiple state and federal agencies, professional search teams, canine teams, drones, and water sonar equipment, covering over 1,000 acres of land and water in Fort Snelling Park and surrounding areas. Many tips and leads, including surveillance videos from the community and businesses in the area, have been received and followed up on. Despite these efforts, Bryce has yet to be found. We are devastated by Bryce's disappearance and miss him every minute of every day. We hope this reward will encourage anyone with information leading directly to Bryce's whereabouts to come forward and contact the Egan Police Department. We are forever grateful to the law enforcement agencies, search volunteers, friends, and family for their love and support as we continue the search for our beloved son. They are, Mercy, and they are. They're not giving up, and we see this over and over where family is not going to give up. So many people get this idea in their head, well, this, okay, that's it. No, they're going to continue. Okay, maybe someone saw something that night and he's extremely handsome young man. Extremely handsome young man. And I don't know, I know we're coming into the spring, and that will open up the possibility of possibly searching areas that they haven't been able to search. But again, we don't know exactly what happened. And that's what's important here. Okay, is that we just keep him in the back of our mind during this. So yeah, there's not a lot with him. Bryce is your son-in-law's name. Oh my God. I love that. I've known one other Bryce in my life. And yeah, I've always thought it was such, yeah, it's one of my favorite names, actually. I used to tell my auntie that. And also, yeah, praying for his family, keeping the word out. Because unfortunately, gang, I have not found a single poster for Bryce. When I went looking for a picture of him, looking for all the information of him, we could not find any posters. And yes, we know it's most likely, okay, in that area and all, but there's always a chance that he could be somewhere else at this point. There's always that chance. Until there is no chance, there always is that possibility. And that's why, for example, I try not to sit there and, okay, get too into saying what happened, because that's when I decide, oh, that's what happened. And I just stop looking. And parents, family members, aunties, uncles, grandparents, okay, deserve to know what happened to their family member. So if you guys can help me out with keeping his, because, and it may not even be us, okay? It may not be about us, okay, finding him, because if it is in that location, but one of us might happen to share something out on Twitter that connects, or TikTok or whatever, that connects to that right person in the neighborhood and makes them think twice and makes the decision, okay, I'm going to call in with what I think I may have seen that night. I don't know if I saw it, but you know what? I'll let the police make that decision rather than me. And yeah, and that is the other thing, that he wasn't in any national databases, which is another issue that many of you guys know I get very upset with. Everyone, okay, needs to be in those databases if they're missing, whether it is a runaway, whether it is someone getting intoxicated and walking in the wrong direction. They need to be in all of them. So if you could please, I am going to share out, okay, this poster as well as the normal thumbnail poster. And, but if you can help us get this out, help share this out, and maybe we'll connect with just the right person out there. And also, and be able to bring him home one way or another in the near future. And also, as we kind of pull this up, and yes, the dog is begging for more treats here. And also, as we go, thank you, Mercy. Thank you for doing that. And as a reminder, Bryce went missing on the 30th of October, so the day before Thanksgiving. Halloween. And he is 23 years old, from Eagan, Minnesota. He has light brown, dirty blonde hair, okay, and brown eyes, dark brown eyes, it looks like. He was last known to be in a very heavily wooded area near Minnesota Highway 13. As for what he was last wearing, I've seen multiple things, but pretty much can get it down to a white button-down shirt. Okay, which of course, okay, if you heard the rest of the story, he was wearing a tie, and they found that tie, so that fits with that. And possibly a button-down shirt and possibly a cardigan. If anyone has any information, please contact Eagan PD at 651-675-5706. You know, Amy, that was a good question. I've had a lot of people I was reading saying, did he have background with camping? He was not camping or hiking at that time officially. I have not been able to get any real feel whether he was an outdoorsy type person. Okay. But yeah, Mercy, it gets super cold in the winter in Minnesota, super cold. Which is why I hope that if he is with us, that he found himself a place where he can, okay, and maybe does have retrograde, and any of those things, that he got himself a good jacket and stuff like that, because it is super cold out there. He may have been into it. I don't know. And that's part of the thing. There's very little information out there about him. And I don't know if that's tied to the fact the the police kind of felt from the beginning we were talking about someone who had unfortunately been drinking and fell into some sort of waterway. And they pretty much had that thought in their head from the get-go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We also know, though, that a lot of times they don't share a lot of information out on missing because, unfortunately, okay, yeah, exactly. That's a great way to point. Yeah, there's no way he was camping that night. There was no way. He had been at a party. Oh, sorry, Amy, you weren't here for this part of it. He had actually spent the night with a bunch of friends in a party bus. So, they were out partying. I don't know what the party was all about, wearing a button-up, okay, shirt like that and all, but you know what? Maybe they were celebrating something or other. And after the party bus was done, they got into a Lyft. A couple people got into a Lyft and were on their way home. And he made the decision to get out of the vehicle and walk home. What was a 2-mile walk, okay, 30, 45 minutes of slowly. I had read 30 to 45 minutes, but you know what? We get the idea. It could have been, that's actually a great idea right there. Could have been a Halloween costume that he had put together. Okay. Mercy, his friends, from what I understand, do not. All they know is at 2:08, he was dropped off on his own. And at 2:34, he called some of his friends and they did a FaceTime that lasted 12 minutes. And stopped when his phone died because his phone was down to 2% at one point during the conversation. So he was worried, I suspect. I said that earlier. I really honestly think he was worried. He realized all of a sudden he didn't know where he was. And when you don't know where you are, you want to know that you're not alone. So you make those phone calls to your friends so you feel like you're not in the middle of the woods on your own, where anything could happen to you. Okay. They did not say why he got out. Yep, Amy, that's a good point there. Could have been a wedding party bus. See, so many ideas. And that's the thing. There's so many ideas as to why. And so many of us get into what we do know. He was having fun. He was enjoying himself. They were doing a party bus, which honestly, gang, is a safe way. It's one of those ways that's discussed as a safe way to party. Okay, rather than a bunch of friends go bar hopping and stuff like that, they were following all those rules. Okay, they were in the party bus. They got a Lyft to go home. One rule that was not followed in the end. And gang, this is not victim blaming or anything like this. This is just, these are lessons for ourselves at times. Okay, never, and I know it's so hard when you're drinking, you're not thinking clearly. Never walk alone, even if you're a guy in the middle of the night. Okay, especially if you've been drinking or something like that, because you are not thinking clearly. You may not recognize if someone comes up to attack you or something like that. We as women, I think a lot of times we get it kind of ingrained into ourselves. I mean, if I had been him, I would have I've got my keychains in the other room. I got my pepper spray on that, and I would have been walking with my phone in this hand and the pepper spray in this hand, and I would have, yeah. But a lot of times, especially younger men, you don't think. Younger people in general, okay, you think nothing can hurt you. And all it takes is one or two moments, one missed decision, and something happens. Cajun True Crime, yes. Always charge your phone before you go out. And if possible, always bring a portable charger. That's something I need to be better about, is the portable charger bit. Because my phone dies all the time. When I was out over at that Chinese New Year thing the other day, my phone died in the middle of the expo. So yeah, great lesson. He got out of the Lyft. That was his one mistake he made, is he got out of his Lyft when he wasn't quite recognizing where he was at the time or something, and then it was just too late. 23-year-olds, you know what? Actually, Amy, you're really onto something there, and it would be interesting to know. But yeah, 23 years old, button-up shirt, party bus. It was either a birthday, a wedding, something like that. I really honestly think you might be onto something there. And yeah, somebody has to know something. Now, the question is, you guys know how I feel. I believe in our law enforcement. I believe in law enforcement. They do a damn good job. Okay. Unfortunately, they don't tell us everything all the time. Okay. And we would like them to share everything with us. But you know what? Sometimes they hold things quiet. It's like they said initially they were holding information back, how I started with the video at the beginning, and police said they are holding some information out of respect for the family. I don't know what that information was. My suspicion was, were they holding back the information of him being intoxicated at the time? That's possible, but it could be something else also. There could be more to the whole story. And I think that's partly why a family to go from the point of no reward to $30,000 reward, there's a lot going on in their head. It's not just we want our little boy home. Okay, there's more concerns there that they need to figure out. And maybe it is the police. We don't know. Maybe the police are wondering if there's something else going on. Okay, honestly, gang, we don't know. Okay, did any friends go with him? We're being told he was alone. No, actually, we were told the video was showing that he was alone when they caught him on surveillance. But once he got out to the other areas, we don't know. We got a party bus when enough of us wanted to go out on the town over. The fact that it was Halloween week and it could have just been, could have been a Halloween costume that just happened to be that way. Could have been quite a few different options that it could have been. Unfortunately, it's just one or two missed decisions. And that's why so many of you guys who have kids, I hear you guys talk all the time about how you use, who was it the other day was saying that they were out and they had not heard the Amber Alert in Texas had been canceled. And they thought they saw the vehicle and they had their child writing down all the information so they could call and report it. Then they found out they're teaching their children, okay, how to be observant and how to be careful of things around them and all. And it's important to do that thing. Yeah, Crystal, it could be. By the way, Crystal, you got your name back. Yay! And so we'll see. And every time someone changes their name now, I'm always like, uh-oh. So, oh my God. So yeah, so we need to get this word out. If you guys can help us out with that, just helping us out, get it, because it's sad that there's a missing person without posters out there. Okay, there's a missing person that has, I think I counted maybe about 12 Facebook comments where his name was mentioned, and that was about it. He's important. Okay, every one of these people are important. So if you guys can help us out with that so much. And also, I want to thank all you guys for coming. And I know we had earlier an Amber Alert today, but that got canceled, it looks like. The one out of, I think it was Utah. So that was, that one's there. So hopefully I hope it's a quiet week. We've had a little rough couple weeks here with news stories and stuff like that. Trust is Mr. Raj. Sorry. Yeah. It's possible. He had the card again. He got that's possible, actually, now that. And also, those are some of the things that are really, some things, I think that's why I wanted to cover this so much today, okay, is the fact that I hadn't seen any posters for him anywhere. Yeah, there are a couple of YouTube videos out there. But there's just very little for someone who deserves to have his face out there and his story told. And if we don't tell his story, who will? So if you guys can help me in telling that story. So thank y'all so much. This week, for those of you who are wondering, we are going to be doing our Wednesday get together, panel chat, whatever the heck we call it now, over at Sleuth Mom's channel. And after a couple weeks of really, really intense discussions about the system and things that, okay, people who've been failed by the system, things we can do to fix the system. I mean, really, for those of you who have not looked at that series, maybe I should start a playlist for that. I'll pull together a playlist on all those. Please go back and check that, because there was some really good discussion about steps we can take as a community to start looking at fixing the system, rather than always coming back to it and saying, oh, the system failed someone again. I don't know, let's fix these things so it stops happening and we don't keep repeating the same thing over and over. So we did all that, but now we're going to play. Wednesday, we'll be over at Sleuth, and hopefully we're going to be playing games, talking story, just enjoying ourselves. So keep an eye out for that, and I will talk to y'all later. Aloha, mahalo. Okay, and yeah, like I said, we can be their voice. Okay, if they don't have a voice, let's be their voice. Love you all. Aloha and mahalo. Bye-bye.